Hey everyone, Ida from PGP here, and welcome back to our Rivalries series, where we cover recent as well as historic rivalries. And this week, I want to cover one that has actually made it to the big screen, and that has, even to this day, people still talk about it. So that rivalry is actually the one between James Hunt and Niki Lauda, and it mainly focused on, or centered on, rather, the 1976 season. And as mentioned, it made it to the big screen in the 2013 movie Rush. And if you want to know more about the movie and what me and the girls think of it, we'll actually do a movie review on the podcast in a couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that one. But if you just want to know what happened, like Cliff Notes origin style, before you go see the movie or before you listen to our episode, hang tight. So because we have covered neither driver on the podcast before, I just quickly wanted to give you an overview of the two, especially their personalities. So, James Hunt, British, driving for McLaren Ford. Very much a charismatic driver, flamboyant, very Playboy-esque. He was basically the first Playboy racing driver, if you will. Like, I don't care, enfant terrible style. Contrast that with Niki Lauda, who was an Austrian driver for Ferrari and was very much analytical, disciplined, methodical about his driving. So, what actually happened in '76? Well, first, the season started with an intense battle between the two, with Lauda actually being ahead because he won several races, whereas Hunt had a lot of mechanical issues. However, this all, I kind of want to say changed, because it did, when it was time to race at the Nürburgring Ring. And honestly, it was the race that changed the entire season. It shook up Formula One, everything. And it did that because at the German GP, Lauda, who was leading, suffered a horrible crash, leading him to be severely burnt and injured as a whole. And because of that crash, which thankfully he survived, but it allowed Hunt to pull ahead, to win the race, start leading the championship, etc. However, that didn't last for long, because despite his severe injuries, Lauda made a remarkable comeback just 6 weeks after the crash, showcasing his determination. However, especially the early races after his comeback, you could still see how his injuries affected his performance. Which, while everything was remarkable that he did, I mean, a lot of people at the time said it was a career-ending crash, he's never going to come back, he's lucky to be alive, etc. So the whole him coming back was huge, but at the same time, it still allowed Hunt to challenge for the championship. To the point where it came down to the final race of the season at the Japanese GP. At Fuji Speedway, heavy rain and poor visibility prompted Lauda to actually retire from the race, citing safety concerns. However, Hunt was so determined to win the championship and the race, obviously, that he persevered in those treacherous conditions and secured a third place finish, earning him enough points to clinch the championship. And meaning he won 1976 by a single point, which, yes, back then, there weren't as many points to be had in the races, but still, a single point is insane. And it would remain his only championship title, too. And that just goes to show how dogged F1 was back then. I mean, it still is. But also how intense their rivalry was. And how skilled of drivers they were. And while their rivalry was marked by very contrasting personalities, Lauda's crash, and other things, the amazing thing about it also was the respect they had for each other. And if you look at old Lauda interviews and even James Hunt interviews, you can see that respect still come through, which to me is what makes a good rivalry. That, yes, you can fight it out on track, but at the same time, you acknowledge that your counterpart is a skilled driver. And I think that is one of the reasons why the whole thing was turned into a movie. So I hope this was helpful and it made you want to go see the movie. I think it's still on Netflix if I'm not 100% mistaken. And if you are interested, watch out for our movie review in a few weeks. Have a good one, guys. See you next week.